Either you invest and you treat me like a big manager and you treat things like a big club, you treat me like a tier one manager, or I walk. Pedro has not been relevant since 2011. VAR, or, that's how they seem to call it. That seems to be the big talking points from this game. I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to say a lot of real things because I just feel that the theme for me moving forward in 2019 for this channel is truth. Truth is my New Year's resolution. I think truth is what I want this channel and for this year for Football Hot is going to be about. So let's talk about the whole VAR thing. I hated VAR to begin with. I said football isn't like rugby or those American sports. I don't want things to be paused. I don't want things to be remain. I don't give a damn. Let it flow. Let the referees do the best job that they can do. At the World Cup, when I first saw VAR being used, I was like, okay, this is trash. We're waiting for 3,000 years for something to be used. But as the games went further and further, I was like, okay, they're speeding up and everything. But when I was in the South Korea-Germany game, that I was like, all right, guys, let's pause. Let's pause for a minute. Because no human eye sees that. And that was a huge pivotal goal. That was a very crucial pivotal goal because at 1-0, maybe Germany get another goal and I think an equalizer and they'll be all right. So that was a very pivotal goal. So at that point I was like, let's walk on this. Let's try and make it quick. My issue with VAR when it was, I've been seeing VAR used in Spain and Italy, and it's pretty quick. It's pretty quick. VAR used in Spain and Italy, it's not over a minute. Checks it, boom. But I understand that in England it's a lot newer. It's not used in the Premier League. That was going to be introduced next season. So it's a lot newer within the in England, and it's only used for the cup competitions. My issue with this is it took too long. I was like, okay, when is this happening? And that took over a minute. And for me, that's far too long. But I get it. More time they have to do with it, they'll get quicker and quicker. But I think what they should know is let us make sure that when this gets introduced into the Premier League next season, it is as fast as in Spain and Italy and in Portugal. With regards to the decision itself, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, he's offside. But then when what we were shown on TV, the back leg of, I believe it might have been Aspilicueta, his back leg was playing Hurricane onside. As if you look clearly, he was at the far side and his back leg was playing Hurricane onside. Now, I don't know where Sarri got his laptop from. I don't know where he got this laptop from. I don't know whether it's a special laptop because that laptop looks crazy because it's 100% offside. So I don't know what's going on there because I think it was Jack Andretti, top subscriber, and I think he said to me on Twitter that was taken after the ball was struck. So that still was taken after the ball was struck. So, but look, at the end of the day, for me, Chelsea can't be focusing on that. I'm going to talk about Tottenham and Chelsea and everything, but just I think for Chelsea to focus on that and say and hold on to that as to why they lost the game, it will be pretty much stupid because they didn't lose the game because of that. They lost the game because of a whole multitude of reasons which we'll get into in this breakdown. But I think with regards to Tottenham, I think if I even get to the whole Tottenham breakdown, Pochettino's pretty much press conference, he's saying F you to Daniel Levy. He can't say it in public, but that is pretty much, that's an F you to Daniel Levy, and that's a threat. And Poch is saying that either you invest and you treat me like a big manager and you treat things like a big club, you treat me like a tier one manager, or I walk. Levy is tight with money. That's just a fact. And for Levy, you have to have a balance. Yes, this is a business, but you have to have a balance between running it like a business and running it like a football club. You have to have that balance. That's at one point, in one stance, it's a business, and at one stance, it's a football club. The issue with Levy is that he is completely and totally running it like a business. That's the issue. The issue with him is that it is too far focused into being run like a business, which means that this guy is not investing in a team who are they're one world-class player from winning the Premier League. You put Bale, you put Hazard, you put Neymar, you put a goal-scoring Cristiano, you put a Messi, you put either of these, you put an Ousmane Dembele, you put an Mbappe into this team, it takes them to that next level. They're missing a truly world-class talent, which they don't have. They have a quality, great striker in a Harry Kane, some pretty good players. They don't have an Mbappe. They don't have a Messi. They don't have a Neymar where, okay, these are the tier 1 stroke chief organ kind of guys. But with regards to the game for Tottenham, I think they managed the game well enough. They got the goal. And I think that for Tottenham, they came up against a Chelsea who had learnt from their mistakes in the Premier League game defensively. So I think that for Tottenham, could they have done more? Could they have pushed for the second or third goal even more? I feel maybe, but I think for Tottenham, as the game wore on, I think it was smart of Pochettino. I was like, okay, we're winning the game. Let's just win the game. Yes, second, as it is more important to not concede than to try and get that second or third goal. I think that's what Pochettino was really focusing on as the game wore on. So I think you saw Tottenham consolidate. They were still attacking, but I think you saw them focusing on let us try and keep Chelsea quiet because they're the guys who are eager to try and get that equalizer. Let's go to Stamford Bridge, 1-0 up, and then we can maybe say something there. Because who knows, if you can, forget about past results, because anybody can beat anybody at any time. I don't care about past experience. Then let's get that look, 1-0 in there. If you can walk away with a draw, we're all good. Walk away with a draw, we're all good. But I think for Tottenham, they managed the game well. And look, man, look. I am getting more and more impressed with Harry Kane. I definitely am. I mean, what Sissoko has done to change my views has been completely amazing. He's been suspended from the Brick Academy. But look, I think with Harry Kane, I'm impressed with his all-round game. Because again, apart from his amazing goal-scoring attributes, I just think it's his number 10 play, his deep power rolling play, where he's showing great control, good intelligence, good awareness, and is able to bring in all the guys into the game by very good through balls and very smart passes. So he's definitely improving, definitely changing upon it, but I still feel that him and Aubameyang are comparable as far as strikers go. I still feel Aguero is the more elite striker, and I still see that at the very best, Lewandowski is still the best striker in the world, perhaps followed by Suarez, based on what they can do all around. I think as an all-round game, I still think that Suarez and Lewandowski are on a different level from everyone else in the world. But he's improving. That's the key thing, Harry Kane, is he's improving. And who knows? Maybe if you talk next year or 2 years' time, maybe Harry Kane will be the undisputed best all-round striker in the world. Because the key thing is he is getting better by each game that I see of him. So for Tottenham, I thought it was a well-managed game. They didn't have to force the issue. Chelsea, You might have to get a meal for this one, or at least a drink. Just press pause and just get a drink. Where do we begin? Kante is a really good player, by the way. Very versatile. Callum Hudson-Odoi was auditioning. If Bayern don't come in or show any interest, Hudson-Odoi doesn't start that game. That's the scary thing. And I will tell you why that is scary. That if there wasn't this whole interest with Bayern Munich towards Hudson-Odoi, real interest, he doesn't start that game. He doesn't. A semi-final, knowing what's right, Pedro and Willian start the game. He starts in the game because Chelsea are scared of losing a talent and they're feeling the pressure from people. Hudson-Odoi wasn't playing well because, oh, man, it's Chelsea. I want to prove myself in the team. Hudson-Odoi is showing Bayern Munich what they're going to get. And for Chelsea, forget Chelsea, Hudson-Odoi was one of the best players on the pitch. Was one of the best players on the pitch. Sharp, great control, incisive, good attacking instinct. He was one of the most dangerous players on the pitch. Yes, Sarri learnt defensively from the Premier League game. And when I saw the false nine, I was about to copy my play, because again, the last I saw was that Giroud was on crutches. I thought, oh, okay, Giroud is injured, then he has to play him because Morata is not in this conversation. So okay, look, his hand is dealt. Morata is not in this conversation. Giroud is injured. You've got to play the false nine. Lo and behold, I see Giroud coming on. So sorry, the false nine did not work in the Premier League game. Why would you play the false nine again? I mean, doesn't Sarri get the memo that Hazard is having to do too much? He's having to have too much responsibility. So he's the striker, he's the winger, he's the playmaker. And as the game showed, you have Alonso, Willian, hudson-odoi crossing the ball. To who? Hazard is going to jump 20, 30 feet in the air and head the ball down? Really? The false nine, the ball never goes in the air. The whole point of the false nine is that it is an ultra passing system. It's an ultra passing system that is predicated on passing your way into opportunities and chances. The ball doesn't go in the air. You don't cross the ball in the air because that's not what it's about. False nine is where you go small. It's about intricate one-touch passing to create opportunities. Pass and move, pass and move, pass and move. Intricate, high degree of difficulty passing. That is what the false nine is about. That Spain and Messi Barcelona perfected. Was Willian ever world class? No, he wasn't. I'll answer that for you. All Willian has ever really been is, man, during that mutiny, Willian was the only guy that was consistent. At best, Willian was tier 3. At his very best, Willian was tier 3. Willian never sniffed tier 2. So ask yourselves this question: how good was Willian really? Pedro has not been relevant since 2011. Let's go to 2011. David Villa was one of the best strikers in the world at that time. We all know who Messi was. Was Pedro ever tier 2? Pedro was bona fide. Pedro was upper echelon tier 3. During his height, upper echelon tier 3, because I think that people felt that, oh no, he was underappreciated, and I think he really gave a lot more on everything. But let's keep it real. Pedro was nowhere near David Villa's level. At Barcelona, nowhere near. And he was not in the same existence as Messi. He was a great addition to a very good front three. He was a great addition to it. But Pedro, in and of himself, was never a world-class talent. So, you say to yourselves that, because again, I get it, I understand, I can predict the comments. Hazard is a bomb. Hazard is overrated. Oh, I thought Hazard is this one amazing thing. Yet again, no goals. Yet again, no assists and everything. I can read those comments over there. Truth. That's the theme we're rolling with in 2019. Is just truth. Only one player on this planet we call Earth that is 3 rocks from the sun. Only one player pretty much does everything in an attacking sense. And that is Lionel Jeremiah Messi. No player is on Messi's level. Nobody is. What Messi does is astronomical. Hazard has been asked to do that. Think about it. Hazard has been asked to do what the greatest club player of all time does. And he can do it successfully because he's the greatest club player of all time. So my thing is that for Hazard, if you're playing in a system that asks so much of you, where we know that Hazard, you're not on Messi's level, you've been asked to hold the ball as much, carry the ball, come deep, be the striker, and you are playing next to Willian and Pedro. And you have a Hudson-Odoi who's just an 18-year-old just starting out. Messi has Suarez, who on his days arguably the best striker in the world. He has Ousmane Dembele, who is arguably the most talented young player in the world. But you chastise Hazard because he hasn't scored or assisted. Do you see the lack of logic in your statements? Now, if Hazard is in PSG or is in Barcelona and he isn't being effective, insult the dude. Bring him down. And I'll be the first to say bring him down. Because Hazard, you've got Mbappe and Neymar and Cavani. You have Messi and Suarez there. You've got De Bruyne and all these boys. So if he isn't bowling there next to quality players, have at it. I will lead them. I will lead the mob. I will lead the mob. But my Lord, Messi in this same team, is he as effective? Messi. Because I think Messi would do better than Hazard because it's flipping Messi. Pick Neymar. Cristiano. In this same team, is he as effective? Because people say, oh, Cristiano, he carried Real Madrid and everything. Benzema is better than Giroud and Morata. He is. Bale is better than Pedro and Willian. He is. So, what are we saying here? And that is the issue that Chelsea are having, because again, it's like Hazard, I still say that talent-wise, listen, just please listen to what I'm saying. All I beg you is to listen. Before you start going crazy on your keyboard and start ripping me apart, just listen to what I say. Just please listen to what I'm saying to you. I am not basing this based off stats, goals and assists. I was born in the 80s. I was born in the 80s and I grew up in the 90s. Computers were not really a thing. The first time I used a computer was, I think, in the 2000s or something. So growing up, I didn't have whoscored.com. I didn't have all these stats and everything. My football thing growing up was you watch the flipping game on television and you use your own intuition. And I use the eye test. Stats is useful, and I think that I don't want to be a dinosaur and be like, oh my gosh, all you young people. So look, man, this is a football analyst channel and I've got to be mature and say, you know what, stats does help. And I'm learning to really understand about, okay, goals to game ratio, goals, assists, distance covered, chance creation, everything. This is interesting. But for me, I still feel that this is a game about that. And I think the beauty of football analysis, which makes it better than analysis of other sports, is that it comes from our soul. We don't have to have a sheet on anything. We can go to the barber shop, we can go to the street, we can go to the road, and we can talk. We don't have to have a stat sheet or pull up our phone to bring up stats. And ability-wise, for me, Hazard is top 3 stroke, top 4. Ability-wise, based on what he does with the ball at his feet and his effectiveness with the ball at his feet, he is a top 3, top 4 football player based on ability. Based on ability. Everyone will talk about who scored the most, who assisted the most. That's a different conversation that we're having. And the issue that you're seeing here with Hazard is he's having to do too much. That him and Kante are the best players in this team. They're the best players in this team. And what Kante does, this guy just completely baffles me every time I see him based on his versatility. But Hazard is having to do too much in a team where he's far better than everyone else in his team. So unless Chelsea invest in top-tier players, cream of the crop players, there's no point in Hazard staying in his team. He's only harming his career. Because if you're this good on this level, you have to play with other players on your level. That's why people didn't really begrudge Henry when he left Arsenal for Barcelona, because for Henry, you're way too good for this team. You need to go to a team where people are at your level if your club isn't willing to invest and get players to be at your level. So, I know, guys, all I ask is that don't have a vendetta. I say to me, I don't have a vendetta against Cristiano. I've always said with Cristiano, he's one of the greatest goal scorers of all time. He's got one of the best winning mentalities I've ever seen of a player. And his winning mentality, his character, his hard work, and his goal scoring is amazing. But ability-wise, I just don't think he's a top 3, top 4 player. And that's just a vendetta. That's just weighing it up. For Hazard, I feel ability-wise, he's top 3, top 4. But as far as goals and assists, he's not touching a Cristiano. He's not touching a Messi. But that's a different argument. As far as stats go, of course Hazard is in top form. But I don't do stats. I do ability. Because that's what I look at. Like, what are you doing on the pitch? What do you do beyond the numbers? But yeah, look, man, I've talked. My gosh, I didn't even know it was going to be this long. But yeah, look. I think Tottenham have the advantage in this thing. Because I think for Tottenham, I don't see any reason why Tottenham can't beat Chelsea at the Bridge. Like this whole thing of like, oh my gosh, look at the result, look at the past experience and their poor record, doesn't mean anything to me. And I think for Chelsea, they're going to ask themselves the questions, and Sarri as well. Do you want to win games or do you just want to look good? If you want to look good, okay, fair enough, play Hazard as a false nine. But if you want to now beat Tottenham at the Bridge, you've got to come with more bite and attack. And I think the thing with Chelsea, they were lacking any bite. There was no biting attack. Alonso is crap, by the way. I don't know whether you realize this, but that dude's I'm inducting him. He's a Class C brick. Sorry, like I'm inducting that dude. So I'm not sure that I'm really worried. I do feel like if Chelsea will react at the Bridge, and I just think that just between Kante and Hazard and so forth, I think they can come up with something. But if they rock up to the Bridge with a false nine, Tottenham should book their place in the final already. But if Giroud starts, he's the striker, there's some structure and some presence in the team, I think we could have a very, very interesting game. And I do believe that maybe it could be like 1-0 and it could now go to penalties. So I think it's even, but Tottenham had a slight edge. And I think if you're Tottenham, go there to win the game. Don't go there to a draw or consolidate or hold on to 1-0. That would be a very stupid way to go. I think Tottenham should go all out to just try and beat them at the Bridge, which I think they can. I think if they play the right game, they defend well. And Dele Alli, I think Dele Alli and Kane, they really combine well, more especially Eriksen as well. So that's three combines well. Son won't be around. So they raise their game. And I think if hopefully Moura is fit and go out there to try and win the game, I think, that is the right approach to take. Peace out. Thanks for watching the video. Now think about becoming a Football Hot patron by pledging an amount each month and then gain access to exclusive content only on the Football Hot Patron page. Peace. Head over to the official site at halffootballhot.com or just click over here.